Hey there, welcome to a brand new episode of Muzikxpress. My name is Twan and in this week's vlog you will see my interview with Rolf Maier-Bode about his track Spring, which came out under the project name RMB. Enjoy! Rolf Maier-Bode was born in March 1974 in Berlin, in Germany. When he was just 17 years old, he released his very first record. He produced several projects, but the most successful one was definitely the RMB project. RMB had 6 top 20 hits in Germany, and in 1996 they got a golden record with the track Spring. As RMB, Rolf performed at big festivals such as May Day, the Love Parade, Nature One and many others. Because Spring is my favorite RMB track, I really wanted to know more about this one. So I managed to arrange an interview with Rolf in his beautiful studio in Düsseldorf. My first question to him was, at what age he did start to listen to dance music?
I started much earlier listening to electronic music, like Vangelis, Jean-Michel Jarre stuff with, I think, 12. And dance, well, I didn't consider it being dance music because I didn't go out dancing with 13, 14, 15. So it was, to me, it was more like as I found out that there is something called techno with about 15, 16 years old. I was thinking about it's a more aggressive thing, like electronic music. It's not, it wasn't dance for me. It was like just more energetic electronic music. So I started listening to the soft stuff and then found out that that there are versions of it with a bass drum in it, with about 17, yeah.
Do you remember some of the acts or tracks that you really did like a lot back then?
The softer electronic stuff, of course, all the great things from Jean-Michel Jarre or Vangelis, the Blade Runner soundtrack I loved. But the more dancey stuff, the techno stuff, no, I don't know any names because it wasn't in the charts as I was 17, 18, starting going out dancing. It was really, in my whole school there were 2 of us listening to techno, so it was really not mainstream. And so I just went out to the disco. Well, we needed to search for a disco that actually played techno. Often driving to Cologne or Frankfurt even, because in Düsseldorf there was no discotheque playing techno style, and I can't remember any names, just danced the night.
And when did you start with producing music yourself?
Producing does sound a bit big, but I started experimenting with, I started with a computer. I started with a C64 Commodore computer with 13. But with 15 I found out that you could use a MIDI interface to trigger other stuff like synthesizers and samplers. And I built my little experimenting room. It's not a studio, it was not a studio, but so I was 15, 16, started doing MIDI first time, and with 17 I had my first record out, so yeah.
Do you have a musical background?
I played the piano as a child, but I didn't like the lessons. So I'm not a real pianist, but yeah, just piano.
Let's talk about the track Spring, which came out in 1996 under your RMB alias. The track is inspired by an older track you did back in 1993. What can you tell us about this?
Yeah, well, the older track was named Ever Means Never, and the melody was quite good, but it was on a small label, and after the project RMB went to Low Spirit, we thought about we could give that melody a second chance and put it on a bigger production. And so I sit down and composed a second melody, and yeah, that was Spring.
So what do you remember from the production process of the track?
I actually remember quite a lot because It was the week of my birthday, of my 22nd birthday. And it was really from Monday till Friday that I worked on the track, and on Wednesday I had my birthday, so I do remember it quite well, because those days productions took time. You know, you don't have a click with your mouse and have gigabytes of samples loaded. You have to swap the discs in small samplers with 8 megabyte, not gigabyte, of sampling RAM, and so it always took days, those days, to work on a song. And it was all analog in a big mixing desk. So you have, although the fader you couldn't save, you have to work on one piece, then make your recording, and that's it. You can't change anything the week after it. So I used to work on, like everyone else, those times in one stretch. So it was from Monday to Friday, five days. I worked on Spring on the. Yeah.
And what kind of equipment did you use for the track?
The main melodic sound was from a Roland JV 1080, so the typical Roland Rompler of the days. There's actually the smaller one now built in here that I can use. I could use the Spring sound inside this one here. And it was sent into a Sony R7 reverb, and that was gated. That was the typical sound of the Spring melody and the arpeggio. And the intro was physical modeling. So it was the Yamaha VL1M, I guess, the first commercially available physical modeling synthesizer. So, and then I turned knobs. So I programmed a MIDI controller to turn knobs, and I had a breath controller, and I blew. It starts like sounding like a flute, and it's really like I was blowing into a breath controller and turning knobs, and that's how this sound came by.
What inspired the lyrics of Spring?
It was in March, so I guess the cold German March. I'm a good friend of the sun, and I like warm weather. So that might be the inspiration. I don't know. Spring. Yeah. I think I hoped for good weather.
Were you surprised that Spring got radio airplay? I mean, it is pretty fast and maybe a little bit hard for radio.
No, I wasn't surprised. I mean, it was 96 and 94 and 5. The project RMB already had top 20 hits with similar sounding stuff like Redemption, and all the dance stuff was fast like that. I mean, it was 160 something. So and it was melodic, and it was the sound of the day, the zeitgeist sound. So no, I wasn't. I mean, I was. I didn't think that it went gold, and that it goes gold, but that it were placed on the radio. I thought of that, yeah.
Spring sold over 250,000 copies in Germany, and as you just said, it reached the golden status in Germany as well. Do you also know how many copies have been sold in other countries?
No, but not nearly that much. I think in Finland, did we have a gold record in Finland or something? Or a chart position in Finland. But it was mostly in Germany and maybe Austria, Switzerland. But I don't know. No.
Was this also around the same time you guys started to perform live as RMB?
No, that was much. I started performing alone on the stage. Even before the project RMB, I had some live gigs, and well, I was still in the school and doing live gigs in really small clubs for 20 people, like with I think about 16, 17 years old I started doing gigs for the other acts, also for my act Money too. I did performances there. But the R&B live act started, I think, 93, and I remember the big one Me being alone on the stage for in front of the 10,000 people in Dortmunder Westfalenhalle. So that was 93 or 94? 93? I think 93. The year I made my I finished my school. So yeah.
What were your favorite moments on stage or your best live gigs?
The big Maydays always, the one in the Dortmunder Westfalenhalle always were a highlight, of course, and because of that's 10,000 and some people, that's really great, and especially after the big hits, the people really went with the songs, and that was a great time. But also in mid-sized clubs, like I often remember the Volksbad in Nuremberg, which is a Jugendstil swimming bath, and that was really, it was really nice architectonic. It was looking great, and the people partied like hell, and that was a good memory.
Did you also DJ as well?
No, never. I would never was interested in choosing music. I always wanted to do the music. I want, and from first idea to first tone to final mix, I want to do everything, and just choosing music was never interesting to me.
If you have to pick one favorite memory you have from the release of Spring, what would that be and why?
I think the big Mayday after it went top 10, and the people really got crazy as the live version, which was even faster than the radio version, came on in the Dortmunder Westfalenhalle. That was really great, yeah.
After Spring, there have been several other R&B tracks such as Reality, Break the Silence, Deep Down Below, and many others. What is your favorite R&B release?
I think, yeah, well, a release is also an album, so I choose the whole album widescreen because it's really, it was, like the name suggests, it was inspired by film. And I'm doing film music now, kind of, and that's where all my life tended to. So and it started all those days back. So I would pick widescreen as an album because it also had such a big bandwidth of songs. There were slow ambient songs on it, and so. But if it's a song, I choose Spring. Yeah, I think.
It's kind of funny that you started with really fast music and now you produce music on a much lower tempo.
Yeah, but that's because, I mean, did you ever go into a normal discotheque in the last 10 years? I mean, there is no 160 BPM for 15 years or 20 years now. So it's the zeitgeist, what people are listening to. And yeah, I'm a service provider now, and I do music for people. Yeah, that need the music for films or anything, and yeah. Or let me say, the real 90s retro didn't even begin. So maybe, maybe sometime there will be 160 BPM again, and I will do it. But the last 20 years it was all below 140. Yeah.
In 2006, R&B split up, but you kept on making music, mainly under your own name. Plus, around that time, you started composing and producing music for all kinds of media. You did work for Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Maserati, Pringles, and many other well-known companies. Can you tell us a bit more about your work?
Yeah. What are you interested in? I mean, it's a big bandwidth of like you said, from fast-moving consumer goods like chips, to expensive cars. So well, there's one thing. As I started doing paid work, 2005 or something. I started with all those fast-moving consumer goods because there are big agencies in Düsseldorf, and I started working for them. And I did music that I personally didn't like. I was just a service provider. And in the last years, all my clients asked me to do music that I really like, because I think because it grew. I didn't do the consumer stuff anymore, and more music I'd really like to do. And now it's one. It's the music I do for myself and the music I sell are very similar. They are electronic. They maybe with orchestra, virtual orchestra, and maybe a lot with energy. They have to be strong for me. That's what I like. And so that has changed from being just a service provider to someone who really provides the music he likes to people that need that, like car companies.
And this is your full-time job, right?
Of course, yeah.
Every once in a while you still release music. There have been several albums you did under your own name between 2009 and 2016. The last album you did is Foundation, which came out in 2016. Can we expect any new music from you in the near future?
Music, of course. I mean, I'm working all the time, so there will be music, and but if there will be more albums, I don't know yet. And I don't think that these will be CDs, because the former ones were all CDs, but I don't buy a lot of CDs my own. There are big stacks of CDs over there, but I buy 5 CDs per year now. So I think if then it'd be just digital. So, but there's nothing planned.
For the people that don't know those albums you released during those years, what kind of styles can people expect on those albums?
Electronic music. So what always bothered me with what you call dance music, what I tried to explain that it wasn't never dance music for me in the first place. It was electronic music that grew more energetic, and people dance to it. But the typical dance music is fashion music. It's 1 month is that sound, then half a year later that's that sound, and you have to be cool and young, and I don't know, that doesn't bother me anymore. And I wasn't really into that even if I was 20 years old. I would like to do electronic, energetic music that is a bit timeless, that's dance. Yeah, that you can still listen years and years after, and that's what drives me. And the other part coming into these albums is, of course, my love for film. And so it's electronic film music for films that aren't there. So the music is telling stories. That's why the first album was called 13 Stories. And using all the equipment I always use, but it's not for a DJ putting on in a club. So it's for home listening, and yeah.
How long does it usually take you to finish an album?
The first one, 2009, I took off half a year to do it because I didn't know what to do, and then I tried a lot of things, and the second one was about 3 months. And the last one, Foundation, was in 6 weeks. Yeah, because I had between 2 jobs, I had 6 weeks of time, so I had my deadline, and it was hard. It was a lot of work in not a lot of days, but I succeeded, and 6 weeks.
That's fast.
Yeah.
What is your typical workflow?
Oh, that totally changes from track to track. Often, I mean, there are 2 parts of my studio that inspire me when I start a song. The one is behind me, the big modular collection. I mean, it's not even one instrument, it's a studio in itself, doing a lot of things, and that inspires me. So sometimes I just stand there, put in the cables and let it go and start from there. Other times I start with my analog polysynth over there, more classically playing the keys and finding melodies or harmonies. And often I just do it on the computer. So finding new sounds, playing a virtual piano to find a melody. It's always different.
What is your favorite piece of hardware or favorite software to use?
Yeah, favorite piece of hardware, the modular, but it's, I think, I don't know, 100 modules or something. So it's not one piece, but if it really has to be one piece, it's of course my polysynth, the Model 008, which is really inspiring. Yeah. And software, I have so much. I mean, I think I have half of all plugins that are there. Yeah, I just looked in. I have more than 400 plugins, and that includes something from UAD that in itself are several plugins and collections like Complete, and there is so much stuff. But maybe I could say that the stuff from He, that's a German programmer, like Zebra and the Diva, are really great soft synths to start with. So that might be a thing.
If you can only pick one track, what would be your favorite own production ever?
I think it's every year it's the best production last year. So I would now point you to something I did last year, and last year I would put. So I guess that next year I will tell you something I will do this year, because I'm growing. I still grow all the time, and yeah.
Yeah, you keep evolving.
Yeah, evolving.
Is there a track from someone else you wish you produced?
Yeah, a lot of. But I think, yeah, I would have cut my left arm to do the new Blade Runner that Benjamin Wallfish did. Ooh, yeah. that would be something I'd really love to do.
Is there still anything on your bucket list, music-wise?
Yeah, into that direction. So on my bucket, I mean, there's for the next years, I'm planning to go into the more longer films, and so I'm working now mostly for things until up to 30 minutes, and I try to prolong that, doing full feature film in the next years. And on the bucket list is doing the music wall to wall, so the full music, the full film with music of a great science fiction movie. That would be something. If I ever do that, I can say, okay, that's it.
What kind of music do you listen to in your spare time?
A lot of film music, electronic music, but not nothing on Beatport. Nothing.
So no chart stuff.
No fashion. Chart stuff, of course, but not the German charts. I don't know if you know. It's full of aggressive hip hop stuff that nobody knows, but it's in the charts, and yeah, it's really no, not that stuff, and not the dancey EDM stuff. That's not my thing anymore. So, but there's great electronic music. I mean, I like Deadmau5, and he did a movie music, Polar, which is quite good. So there are dance people that do good music, but if you go into the Beatport or something, there's so much and so much crap.
All right, thank you very much for your time, and good luck in the future.
Thank you.
Alright, that was it, this week's vlog, my interview with Rolf Maier-Bode about RMB Spring. Rolf, thank you very much for your time, much appreciated. Thank you guys for watching, I hope you enjoyed the vlog. If you did, make sure to give this video a like, leave a comment in the comment section below, and make sure to subscribe. Once again, thanks for watching, and until next time, bye bye.